Oh, hey there, study abroad people. This is Mark from Wolters World, and many of you don't know that actually my day job, I'm actually a professor at a university, and I actually do take groups of students around the world on many classes, and a lot of topics I actually go and talk about are actually about study abroad opportunities. And so what today's live feed is, because I promised a live feed about study abroad last week, and ended up being a travel blog, I thought I'd get online here and just kind of talk about some of the issues and some things you should think about when you are going to be studying abroad. So like the why study abroad, where, when, what, packing things, safety issues, costs that parents might have or you might have or anybody might have when you're there. So hey, Maya, nice to see you up on here. And so this is especially for them because some people wrote there said, you said you were going to talk about study abroad, but you didn't. So I really want to focus on that here. So if you have some study abroad questions, please go ahead and put them either in the comments if you're watching this later, or if you're watching the live feed, you can put that on there, okay? Now, the first thing I want to talk about is why you should study abroad. Now, a lot of students are like, well, should I study abroad? Should I not study abroad? Well, for one thing, it gives you a great opportunity to see more of the world. I mean, it's really cool. You actually going to live in a country and go take classes there. You get to learn about the culture. You get to see the people and have a really great time with it. And it's something people really should do. I studied abroad when I was in high school. I studied in Australia and Finland. When I was in college, when I was in college, my undergraduate, went to Austria for the summer, and I did a semester in Argentina. Then I did my master's in Germany. I did my PhD in Portugal. So I'm very much a pro study abroad kind of person. And so I want to give you guys some ideas, but really the big whys is it's an opportunity for you to go see the world on your own, and it changes your perspective on things because you can read the news, you can read the books, you can see the movies, but actually going there and experiencing these cultures and seeing these things really makes it a really big difference. So no matter where you're going, if you're coming to the US, you're going to China, or you're going to Germany, or wherever, there's really a lot of things you can look out for, okay? So the why, you probably know the why. It's just really fun. I mean, it's a fun thing to do. You're making friends and having a good time and traveling all around the world and all kinds of stuff. Whether you're in Würzburg in Germany, which is a cool place to check out, or wherever you're at, it is a really nice thing. Now, we start looking at well, let's start with when. We'll go with when. When should you travel? Now, I'm going to be focusing more on college students here. Now, if you're in high school, you're study abroad, usually you're going your junior year of high school. Because then you go for the year, then you come back and finish high school, then go on to college or whatever, or trade school or whatever you're going to do. So that's where that kind of goes. But the thing is if you're in college, you kind of have some wide varieties, depending on the college you go to. Because many colleges will have a semester program. So you might go for a semester your junior year, which is kind of a common time to go. I actually went when I was in college. I went between the summer between my sophomore and junior year, and then I went the first semester of my senior year. And so you want to kind of figure out is when's going to be best for you. So you might look at the different classes you have to take, okay? And so if some of your classes at your college are only offered in the spring semester, maybe you want to take a fall semester study abroad, because I know I have students that they just can't study abroad for a semester because it doesn't line up with their class schedule. So you want to make sure you have that, okay? So make sure you're thinking about that when period. When does it fit so you can graduate on time? Because I don't want the study abroad experience to actually hold you back from graduation, because no one likes college loan debt, okay? But I want you to start thinking about those things. When does it really work? And people ask, where should I travel? So Lewis here writes, hey, which country is cheapest to study in? I'm not going to lie to you. When it comes to study abroad, the cheapness is just like with travel. If you go to a Spain or a Portugal, it's going to cost you a lot less than spending a semester in Denmark or the U.S. So if cost is a factor, you want to look at those things. Going to Southeast Asia to travel is super cheap, and to study there, it's super cheap. And the thing is if you're a university student, sometimes your bill for studying abroad will be the same as your bill at your home university. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. So that's one of the things you really kind of think about. And I'll get into the money thing in here. The cost is down near the bottom, but we will get into those things, okay? Now, in terms of the wheres, because price can affect it. One thing I look at is, where do I want to go? What kind of cultures would I like to learn about? I went to Austria for the summer because I wanted to learn German. I went to Argentina for a semester because I wanted to learn Spanish. I've always wanted to go to Argentina, so that's why I studied there. I did my PhD in Portugal because I wanted to speak Portuguese and see the culture there. So sometimes it's just like, hey, where do I want to be? That will make it a much more enjoyable experience. Or where's my family from? You want to see how your family was in Germany when you go visit them and things like that. So it can be a good thing. And sometimes you go to random places. So I see Johnny here. He says, hey, Mark, greetings from Finland. Thank you for all the tips. Yeah, Finland. I actually studied abroad for a year in Finland in high school. I was supposed to go to Argentina. They switched it up. And then they put it. They sent me to Finland instead, which turned out to be a great experience. So no matter where you end up, it really is a great experience to do. So make sure you're going. But you want to kind of factor in like where in terms of what's going to be best for you. Now, sometimes you might see it could be the where is the university you're going to go to, what are the things they're offering to you. Okay, so I know for like some people that come here, to the U of I where I teach, they're like, oh, this is a class we don't have at our university back home. So can I now take this class here? Yes. When I did my master's in Germany, I'm like, wait, you have a class on healthcare economics? We didn't have that. I'd love to learn that. I have students that come here like, wow, you had advanced marketing? Yeah, we don't have that in our thing. So look for classes that you don't actually get to take other places. That can be really, really like a helpful thing, okay? That's where when you look at what to study, when you're choosing your classes, you want to think about those things. Another thing I would look at in terms of what to study is look at your class schedules. Okay, what are the classes you have to take to graduate? I know when I went to Argentina, I took my Western civilization or Western history class, my Eastern history class, Western history, non-Western history, took a Spanish class, and I took a management course there that transferred over. You want to make sure that your classes will transfer back over, because if not, you're going to study abroad and you might lose a whole semester. So make sure things line up, because I'll meet students here where I work and they're like, oh, I want to take your class, but I've already had my basic marketing, so we can't take that class, and this thing doesn't transfer. So you really want to make sure you check those things out. Now, some universities, they'll have a list of classes that you can take at these other universities when you go abroad that will help you. Others don't, okay? So make sure if you want to get a class and to get it transferred abroad, it's always best to have it where it's like the same kind of title. So the class I transferred was a business administration class, and so I took a class which was Administración de la Empresa, which means business administration. So it made it easier for me to kind of transfer those credits, because that's one of the big things I see people is that credit transfer can be kind of tough. So make sure you're looking into those things. Now, I know there's a lot of independent programs you can go for, like, oh, go study in Spain for the summer and get college credit. Well, the thing is if it's a private group, it might not transfer to your university. So make sure you can actually get these things kind of set up, okay, beforehand, because you don't want to go get the class and come back and they say, no credit for you. So you want to look into that, okay? So we've got the where, so where you like to go. We've got the when, usually your junior year in high school and actually junior year in college is usually good, but make sure it fits into your schedule. The what things to study, classes you can't have before. Also, what I would say with what to study is there's a lot more online classes that are out there for people to take. And the thing is, when you're studying abroad, you might be able to take an online class from the university you left. And the thing is, if you take too many online classes, you don't get a chance to actually meet the locals. So if you don't get to meet the locals, what's the point of studying abroad? You're there to meet them. So I recommend is taking classes with locals and meeting the locals there. Now, usually, I've had study abroad students here in the U.S. I've taken students around the world. And it's always the same. Like the Erasmus students in Europe, they all hang out together. Occasionally, they'll get some locals in with them, but they kind of group together. I'm like, you came to Portugal to learn about Portuguese and Portuguese culture, but all you're doing is hanging out with the Spanish people, which are cool. Don't get me wrong. The Spanish people are awesome, but don't you want to meet some of the locals that are here? And people kind of get stuck in their groups. I know when I was in Argentina, one of the big things I saw people making a mistake for is they only hung out with other Americans that were studying there. I'm like, how are you going to improve your Spanish when you're only hanging out with the other Americans? So make sure you make a point to meet people. And honestly, the first week of classes and the first couple weeks you're in country, that is the most important place that you need to be. You need to be in the classroom, meeting people in the dorms or in the lobbies and stuff like that, talking to people. Because after the first couple weeks of classes, people aren't really making friends anymore. They've kind of set themselves in their little, this is what I'm going to do this semester. So if you're online talking to your girlfriend back home or your boyfriend back home, or I miss you, mom, these kind of things, you're wasting your time. You're losing out. I know there was a Belgian girl that stayed with my parents, and she spent the first 3 months of her time in the U.S. just ICQ. It's been a few years. ICQ with her boyfriend. He broke up with her. Well, she had no friends because no one wanted to, look, you spent 3 months not hanging out with us, not want to do anything with us, so we're done. So make sure once you get there, you're really trying to meet some of the people when you are there, okay? Now, Jared Bear HT writes, can studying abroad in a specific country help score a job in that country after college? Actually, yes, it can, because here's the thing. If I know you went to a school near me, so let's say I'm going to Germany, and you got your degree in Germany, or you studied abroad in Germany, they know that, oh, I know what you learned at that university. I know you have an idea about German culture. It does help you. Now, it's not a guarantee, but it does help. And for some people, you know what, you've always had that dream to work in Italy. Why not go study in Italy for a semester to see if it's really what you really want? And that's one thing I really would recommend if you get the chance to do that. And sometimes that means you take a language course for a summer, like go for 6 weeks to Berlin and learn German. You're there in a specialized course and see, this is where I really want to stay. So you do have that. Oh, Joe Jones, do you recommend Pittsburgh? Yes, Pittsburgh actually has got some good schools, and actually it's a nice town. So yes, you can check that out. Okay. So Dracula Nova writes, the University of St. Andrews, Scotland and William & Mary have a very good international honors program where you study for 2 years at one university, then 2 years at the other. And yes, you do see more and more of these, like, not dual degree programs, but dual programs that are out there. And it can be a good experience. So if you're thinking about going to college, because I know the new school year is starting, and now students are starting to think, hey, where might I go next year because I'm a senior in high school and stuff. This could be one of the things you kind of think about. You know, this is a school that really promotes studying abroad. Do they help me study abroad and how let me pay for it? So you want to think about those things, okay? I know when I was looking for schools years ago, you know, I was at one like, look, everyone has to study abroad. Like, you have to go. We're going to kick you out and make you go. I'm like, well, that's really cool because I wanted to go abroad. Where I work now, they like, look, we want 100% international experience for all of our business students, okay? So they're coming up with short-term programs, long-term programs, with semester programs, you know, weekend things. They're trying to find out different ways to go there. So you might not want to study abroad for a whole semester, so maybe you look into what we call short-term study abroads. Maybe you just go for spring break to Denmark, or you learn about businesses in Italy for the winter break and stuff like that. So you can look at these other programs that are out there, and those short-term ones typically are a lot less expensive when you go. So that is really cool. Now, in terms of, so we got the why to go, we've got the where to go, when to go, what to study. We look at packing. One of the funny things I see is when I see the new international students come, they've got their 2 big suitcases coming from home. I'm like, unless that's food that you're going to miss, you're bringing too much luggage. Okay, think about it this way. You're going to go study in another country. You want to blend in more, right? So why not take that opportunity to refresh your wardrobe and hit the H&Ms and Zara's and things like that, the local stores that you'll have clothes that make you fit in better. Okay, and the thing is, it's kind of fun to do when you start having the clothes that fit in better there, and you have more stuff. And also, those are souvenirs you bring back home. So when you're back home that next semester, you have a cool outfit. Oh, I got this in Rome. I got this in Paris. Oh, I got this in Beijing. You have those things there. Okay, so I recommend, like, bring one carry-on of clothes with you, and then pack that carry-on in another suitcase, because while you're there, you're gonna like load up on stuff, so you will have that. Now, another thing that let's see if some other questions. So, are you able to take out loans to study abroad if you can't pay for it all at once? That depends on your student loan office at your university, but I do know students that have taken loans out to do that, so it's not impossible. You just have to look at the people that actually do that, okay? Like the banks or your university if they have those things, okay? So Mike writes, my son leaves for he left for Italy on Monday for a foreign exchange to Rotary. Hey, nice. I was a Rotary exchange student a couple times. School starts in September. There will be until June 2019. Thanks for the videos. You're welcome, Mike. And the thing is, Rotary is, if you're looking for study abroad for high school students, Rotary is a really good program. You're going to other Rotarians and staying at other Rotarians' house. EF is another good study abroad program for high school people, high school kids and stuff like that. When you're in college, though, I do recommend, you have the party kind of things. EF does run tours for college students, so it could be just a fun trip. But I always recommend is if you can get one through your college or your university, the credit will transfer better. It's a much more, the university's like, look, I don't want anything happen to our students, so we're gonna make sure everything's okay here. I know EF does the same thing, but your university is much more attached to you because they want you to succeed. So they're making sure that all the program's gonna be there, and it's not just a booze cruise kind of thing, okay? So hey, what is the most beneficial courses to study abroad in the U.S. and Europe? I find when I have international students coming here to the U.S., there's a lot more, like the universities in the U.S. are much more practical based. Like we have a lot more like, here's a project we're working with this company. I'm talking about business courses because I teach business, okay? And so we work with a lot more companies versus here's the theory and the model that explains things. So if you want more hands-on kind of stuff, like US is good for that, for practical chances. So get classes that have projects and things like that. Europe, I find, is really good if you want to get the mathematical models, your econometrics or statistics. They're really great places. They're much more math-heavy kind of stuff, so that can be probably cool too. Now, other things. Let's see if there's any other scholarships or other things up here. Okay, so other things I want to talk about. One of the big things we have when I run study abroad programs, all the students are required to go on a safety course. okay? And then you don't run a safety course. It's like we have someone come in and they talk about some of the safety issues that are out there when you do go abroad, because the same issues you have in college, too much drinking, not going to class, bad people. These things happen everywhere in the world. This isn't just, oh, that only happens in America or that only happens in Italy. No, these things happen everywhere. So yes, if you're going out to drink and things like that, you need to make sure you're watching your drink. And you know what? Just because you're on like study abroad, it doesn't mean it's vacation where you're drinking yourself silly every day. I mean, people do those things. And you got to remember, hey, your class credits transfer back, okay? But also it's your safety thing you got to worry about. And the biggest one we talk about is actually drinking and drugs for students going abroad. Because look, when you're abroad, I mean, even your parents love you and want to be there all the time. When you're going to college in your home country, they're relatively nearby. But if you're in a whole other country, it's like a whole level of freedom that's out there. And so some people go way crazy with it, which can be cool, but you got to be careful with it because that's where the safety comes in. I mean, I've had people spike my drinks. Me, why would you spike my drink when I was a student? I mean, these things happen. So you want to be careful, but usually it comes down to drinking and drugs. Also, when it comes to like adventure activities, if you're going to get insurance for when you're abroad, a lot of your colleges will make you get insurance while you're abroad. And if you look in there, it says your insurance doesn't cover, extreme sports and things like that. So if you're thinking about doing, spelunking or canyoning or something like that, you might want to look and see that might not cover it, okay? So you want to make sure these things are there. Because I know when I take my students abroad, there's certain things they can't do. So you want to make sure you're working with that, okay? Yeah, so drugs in Amsterdam, well, drugs happen. If it's illegal, that's your thing. But you want to be careful with some of the harder things. And sometimes it's not even a hard thing. One of the things actually we specifically mentioned for drinks to watch out for is Red Bull and vodka. Because we've had so many problems with students that'll go and just overdo the Red Bull and vodka that the heart's like this and the alcohol's like that and things get crazy. So you just got to be smart about it, And the thing is, when you're studying abroad, it's the same safety aspects of anywhere in the world. Do you talk to weirdos? No, you don't talk to weirdos. Do you let people hold your bags or things like that? I'm amazed how many students will go to a study area and they'll just leave their computer or leave their phone just sitting out there. Would you do that in your home country? No. Okay, so don't do it when you go abroad because you know what? There's thieves and stuff like that all over the world. Okay, so you want to be careful with that. And then the last thing I want to talk about quickly is about the cost of study abroad. And I know it is not a cheap thing. Okay, but the thing is when you're there, depending how your university set up the pay scale, like when I went abroad with my university, it was like you pay your normal tuition here and that counts abroad. So you don't have to pay anything extra. So I just had to pay my usual apartment fees and lunch fees and stuff like that. So if you're coming from the US going abroad, pretty much anywhere you go, the prices will be the same or less. Okay, except if you're like in Norway or Iceland studying abroad. Yeah, but it's usually relatively okay. And the thing is when you're looking at these places to live, your cost of living, I found when I've lived abroad, was actually cheaper than it was on a US campus. So if you're coming to the US, just know your accommodation might be a little bit more expensive than it would be if you're staying back in your home country. And so that kind of leads into another thing I want to say is where do you live when you study abroad, okay? One of the things is I always say if you're going to be studying abroad, there's kind of like 3 or 4 options. One, if you get a chance to live with a family, I mean, if you're in high school, you will, okay? But if you're in college, it really depends what you're trying to get. Like I lived with a family when I was in Argentina because I wanted to learn Spanish. And that gave me a great opportunity to hear it in a real setting and really get it down. And so it was really, really great experience. But the thing is, I've lived with a number of families in my different study abroad things, and some have been awesome. The Hutelas in Finland, for example, they're fantastic. And I have other ones that were kind of shitty. And so you got to be careful with those things, okay? So some people say, you know what, it's just a semester, I want to have fun. I don't want to live with a family. That's fine. When you live with a family, you also have someone to like come back and visit later. Second thing you look at, you can actually live in the dorms. Okay, the dorms give you a chance to actually, live with other students and things like that and have like a base, and it's kind of a university sanctioned thing, so that's easy. But dorms pretty much around the world usually have some kind of restrictions. So if your friends come to visit you, maybe they can't stay with you, or if they do stay, they have to pay extra money for it, or maybe you have to be back in at a certain time. So there are sometimes weird rules with the dorms. So I usually kind of, unless it's like a short-term trip or it's it's like more like an apartment building than a dorm room, I usually say, you know what, get an apartment, okay, when you're going to do these things. Because if you get an apartment, there's 2 ways you can go. Maybe you're on your own, and maybe with you're with other students. And if you can get with other local students, that's a great way to understand the culture. But if you're going to be with other exchange students, that's one of the things you could do. So that is kind of nice. But there is that. Some other things I would say for recommendations for when you're studying abroad. It's a great opportunity to travel. Obviously, I do a lot of traveling. When I did a lot of traveling when I studied abroad, when I was in Argentina for the semester, I made a choice. I said, one week I'll go out and party. The next week, I'm going to go travel. So every other weekend, I'll go to Chile, then I go to Uruguay, then I go to Paraguay, then I go to Brazil, then I go to Peru. And so I did these things. So I'm like, look, I'm making a point to go abroad. The thing is when I was there, I met a lot of people who said, oh, I want to go to those places too. Wait to buy your ticket. We'll buy it together. And I would wait, and they never go. So what I recommend to you is, look, go, if there's places you want to go, book your tickets. Get your EasyJet tickets. If they want to go, they can book their own tickets later. Don't wait for the other people, because you'll be surprised how many people then on Thursday night, they're like, you know what? I don't want to go tomorrow. Never mind. Let's not go. And then you're sitting there going, oh, I thought we were going to go together. Just plan things on your own, okay? And you'll have a better chance of seeing what you want to see. And then people will follow you to go to those places versus you going, what are they going to do? Because you got to take your own initiative when you study abroad. Also, you got to take your own initiative to meet people when you study abroad. Because sometimes, I took students to Austria a few years ago, and in Vienna, the students were fantastic with my students. They took them out and stuff like that. Everywhere else I've gone, it has not been that way. So you got to be the one saying, hey, Mark Wolters, damn glad to meet you. To meet people when you're abroad so you can learn more and do things, okay? So this was just me kind of talking about some study abroad issues, because I wanted to get something out because the semester began, and there wasn't too many questions about it on here, but I'm glad we could do something. We will have another live feed for normal travel stuff later this weekend, so we will have that. But let me think, is there any questions on here? Somebody had one about Spain. How do locals react to students studying abroad in Spain? Actually, when I was in when I was in Germany, I went down to Spain for a visit. And it was in Sevilla, and Sevilla is a really big place for people to learn Spanish, whether you're for a semester abroad or just going to learn Spanish. So there's a lot of people there for it, and they're used to that, and they're pretty cool with it. But if you're there studying abroad, learn some of the language, because I know I was there, and it was me, and there was two really pretty American students that were sitting next to me at the bar, and the bartender, I think, oh, I'm never going to get served. These girls look really pretty, and I'm sure he's going to talk to them. And so I'm just chatting with him, and they're talking to him too, and he stops mid-sentence and goes, wait a minute, you live in Germany, and they've been studying here for 6 months, and your Spanish is 10,000 times better than theirs. And he got upset with them because they didn't know any of the language. They're like, wait, how can you be here for so long and not know the language? And that's what I want to say is, if you get a chance, make sure you take that language course when you're there. And you may say, well, it's Finland. Why would I need to learn Finnish? Well, because you're in Finland, and just knowing how to say moi and mitakulu, how are you, things like that, really opens the door for people to say, you know what, you're trying. Why don't you come meet my family? Why don't you come do something this weekend? I ended up in the coast, dune buggying on the coast of Argentina with some locals because I could speak Spanish with them. So into Spain or anywhere you go, make sure you do try to learn some of the language, because it goes a really long way. Hey, Joe Bone from Holland. Let's see. Which place is good to study abroad? Urban or rural areas, okay, concerning the placements. All right, this is one thing. It really depends what you want to get out of the study abroad. For me, I liked the rural areas in terms of knowing the language and the culture, because there's not a lot of other trappings, okay? So all you're doing is, look, I'm hanging out with the locals, I'm talking to the locals, so your French will get fantastic, your Spanish will get fantastic, things like that. But you won't have as many cultural opportunities. You won't have as many tourist connections to fly to go see someplace else. But you'll really know the culture. Now, in the urban areas, what I've done that, I've really enjoyed that, is you have all the cultures there, you have all the international feelings that are there, all that kind of stuff. And it's kind of like if you go to New York, New York's a fantastic city, but does it really represent all of America? No, it's New York City. Berlin's a fantastic international city, but does it represent Germany? Well, some people say, no, it doesn't. Other parts of Germany are more German than Berlin. And so you do have that. So you have that international setting, and it's easier to kind of fall into a safety net in an urban city to hang out with, if you're Americans, hang out with other Americans. If you're Italians, hang out with other Italians, stuff like that. Then if you're in a rural setting where you're one exchange student in a school versus 100 exchange students. So that's one of the things you can kind of look at, okay? Mark, what's your PhD in? It's in management. Actually, I teach marketing for my day job. See, the travel blogging stuff, that's not my real job. That's my side job that I love doing. I love helping people travel better. But what pays the bills is actually my job. I'm going to have to go back to here in about 5 minutes. So I just want to put this out there. Urban or rural France for study abroad? I would probably go with rural France, because you'll really get to know your French. Your French will be insane good. And the thing is, in France, it's so easy to get around everywhere with a TGV, so it's not really a problem of being way away, because it's not too far to get into places. Mark, what do you think about studying in Asia? I think studying in Asia is a fantastic idea. I think not enough people actually do it. I know in the U.S., the allure of going to Europe is quite big, but I think going to Asia is such a much more cultural visit for Americans and for Europeans to go there. You see so many different things, and it's really, really affordable to live when you're down there. And the people are fantastic. I'm not gonna lie. Every time we've gone to Asia, people have been awesome for us and to us and helpful. And that's one of the places too. Like when you try to speak the language, like, oh, that guy's trying to speak some Japanese, I'm gonna help him. You really have that, and so they kind of like really take you in that way. So that is kind of nice. Do you recommend going to a country and learning a new language, or studying in one that you already speak the language at a decent level? Either way will work. I did my master's in Germany. I spoke some German before I went, and then after I was there, I really learned a lot. But they had classes that were in English and in German, so I could choose. When I was in Finland, like there was all in Finnish. I'm like, I was kind of lost. So I would say is if you're looking to transfer credits and stuff like that, that might be better to go where you know a little bit of the language so you can do stuff, or look what classes are on offer, and if they're in English or in your language, that might make it easier. But a lot of it really comes down to what you're looking for to get out of it. Like anytime I went to a Spanish-speaking country, I'm like, no, I want everything Spanish. When I was in Germany, when German got good enough, like no, I want everything in German. My PhD stuff, I was learning philosophy in Portuguese, so that was actually when my Portuguese language peaked at that time, and it's only gone down since then, you know. So you look at those things. So we're taking a loan and going abroad and then coming back to your country to find a job, sir. I think the experience you have for studying abroad is worth that loan. Because here's the thing. When else in your life are you going to have 6 months to go live in another country, experience another culture? You're not, because you're going to graduate and have to get a job. And then you got a job and they don't give you 6 months off. Like, hey, you know what? You go for 6 months and go have fun in Italy. Yeah, because there's not like study abroad programs too often for old farts like me. So I would do that, because you know what? You can work your butt off, and you do have to work your butt off to pay off college loans. Take my word for it. I understand. But the experience is something you don't get back. And doing it at 18 or 20 or 22 is a lot different than going on a vacation when you're 32. Okay? Let's see. Would you ever go to North Korea? Not for study abroad. Let's see. Is it worth taking a loan? Thank you, Phil. I appreciate that you're enjoying our stuff. Let's see. Okay, so here's one. I'm thinking of doing a postdoc in Europe. Will that make it harder to get an academic position in the U.S.? I'll be honest, when I applied for jobs, I have my PhD from Portugal. It did not make it easier for me. But the thing is here's one thing. If you're publishing in 8 journals, nobody cares where you did your postdoc, and nobody cares where you did your PhD, because you're being published in those top journals, okay? The thing is, I would say, it depends where you're doing your postdoc. Like, I did my master's in Germany. Masters in Germany, it was like US, Germany, UK, all those degrees, you're fine. No one cared. Like those are the top places, for English speaking and things like that. So there was those things. And that made life a lot easier for me, because when I was looking for my job back in the US, people didn't want to talk about my PhD in Portugal. Like, oh, you were in Germany, huh? So, ja, ich war dort. Es war eine gute Zeit. Also, ich habe viel gelernt. As I was there, it was a good time. I learned a lot. So there was those things for that. So, shout out Herz 7. I hope that helps, okay? What are some other ones? Oh, that was for AT too. So here's one thing. Amnesiac writes, what do you think about my plan to move to Iceland after high school? I've been learning Icelandic for about 4 months and always have been obsessed with Iceland. Would it be hard? Okay, here's one thing I want people to know is a lot of people write, like, I'm going to move to Italy. I'm going to move to Iceland. Well, here's the thing is the immigration laws to go to these places are very strict, and you have to like apply for them and get these things to go there. Now, Iceland, you can go and stay there for 3 months without a visa, and then you have to come back, or you have to leave Iceland at least. Okay, well, if you leave Iceland, you can't just like go across the border. You got to leave because it's an island. But you have to look at it in terms of why would they want you there? Why are they going to keep you there? Okay, so you have to think about that. So I know for me, because I have advanced degrees, it's a lot easier for me to get visas to stay and live in a country, to go someplace. But the fact that you're learning Icelandic and you do that, that really makes things a lot different. When I talk to people in different places, I remember I was in Germany for quite a long time, and they're like, hey, are you thinking about getting your citizenship or things like that? I'm like, it was all in German, and I was explaining, like, well, you can get the DSH, no problem. The shows you speak German, and that really helps with the process. So the fact that you're putting the time in for that, there is that. But coming out of high school for it without anything there, that might be tough. So I would think you need to look more into that, okay? I don't know where Dubia is. So, have you considered doing a video on Quebec? Yes, we actually have 5 hates of going to Quebec, and we have top 10 sites in Quebec. The Quebec City is actually my favorite city to go to in Canada. It's a really cool place. But I want to try to keep folks on study abroad questions only in this one. We will have another live session later this weekend, okay? When you study for free in Europe, where can you study for free in Europe after you're 30? I don't know. You let me know, and I'll go with you. Okay, just saying. All right. So someone says, Kayla Nicole. Here's a good one. Would you recommend studying abroad first or moving to a country? I want to live in Australia, and I've visited already. I would definitely study abroad first because visiting a country, it's kind of like going on vacation to someplace is very different than living somewhere. I mean, I love New York City. I love visiting there, but living there, I'm like, wait, how do I put a family of 4 on a professor's salary somewhere in New York City? I'm like, that's kind of tough to live. And so if you go as a student and you study abroad there, you get a much better idea of how the system really works. I mean, I went to Portugal like 15 times before I went to live there. And when I moved there to live there, it was a completely different experience than my vacations there. So I would definitely get as much experience with these places before you move there, because you don't want to move there and like that dream kind of dissipates. Like, go study abroad there and realize, you know what, this is what I want, okay? That's why I've studied abroad in a lot of places so I can get a good feel. Because I know with my family, if we have to move sometime, I got my pictures of my boys up here, if we have to move sometimes, I know, like, look, I spent enough time in Italy studying there and working there. Yes, I could go there. And back to Germany, no problem. Portugal, heck yeah. Nova, just open up a new facility on the beach. Yes, I'll be there. So there is those things like that. But going places for like a moving where you haven't had a lot of experience, like, I love going to Nicaragua, on vacation, but do I want to live there? What are all the things I need to know before that? And that's why studying that country will really help you understand more of the culture and really help out, okay? Hayden writes, do you recommend studying abroad in high school or waiting till college? I say both, because I did 2 in high school, 2 in college, my master's abroad, my PhD abroad. So I'm all about whenever you can go when you have that opportunity. But I would say if you're going to be going in high school, if you're going to, it depends, like if you want to go to college later and things like that, make sure you're getting your right classes, because like I graduated a year early from high school. So I graduated after my junior year and then I went abroad. Now I got into a really good school, so it was okay. But I know for some schools, like, no, you have to have at least 4 years of credit and stuff like that. So you want to be careful. But yeah, if you study abroad programs, like I said, Rotary International, I really like. EF, there's some other, AFS. AFS is nice. I know a lot of people that really enjoyed that one. Check out those because they all have short-term ones and long-term ones. I know my mom was a little trepidatious, so she was a Rotarian. She's like, well, you could try a Rotary one. So I went for a summer exchange in Australia. Temora, New South Wales, a little tiny town. Had a great time, met some wonderful people. Jan, right? Oh, she's so wonderful. We still write. We're still really tight. I mean, it's been a long time since I was there. And then, and so that was really cool. And then from there, I was like, okay, yes, I want to do this for a year. But I know I came back from Australia saying, Mom, can I sign up right now? My mom was like, no, I don't want my baby to leave me. So there is one of those things, because getting your parents to sign up for study abroad is a different thing than you signing up for it, because they do have to pay some stuff and things like that. And then their baby is away from them. And that is kind of tough, okay? Let's see. Are the graduations in Asia worth something? I don't know what you mean by that one. Schadenherz, tut mir leid. Okay, Mark, would you consider it advisable to move abroad to either Spain or Italy with a beginner's grasp of Spanish and Italian? I would be continuing to work online via the English language. Yes, actually, if you're looking to be like a digital nomad thing, if you know a little bit of the language, when you go there, oh my God, it makes everything so much easier, especially meeting locals. Definitely do that, okay? So, Sally, so if you're going to be doing those things, you speak the basic Italian, because you're a tourist in Italy that speaks some Italian. Oh my God, they are like, I don't tell you how many hugs I've gotten and how many free meals I've gotten, obviously quite a few, over the years, just because I spoke a little bit of the language. It will really make it a much more better experience for you. And also think about how much better your Italian will be or your Spanish will be when you do that. So Sally, definitely go for it. Hey, it's a wonderful life. Thank you very much for the buck. I do appreciate it. It makes a difference, helping us support us in all our stuff we're trying to do. We're trying to expand some more videos and topics and all kinds of stuff. So that is really helpful. Thank you very much. What about loans? Studying English in the USA, is the money worth the experience? Here's one of the things. If you're coming from outside the U.S. to study in the U.S., if it's a study abroad program, usually your program at your university in your home country will have an agreement with the U.S. university, so you're not going to pay the crazy USA prices for school. If you're going to come study in the U.S. for the whole degree, we actually have a 511 Hates of Getting Your Degree Abroad that goes into that really in depth. I just uploaded a couple weeks ago, so definitely check that out. Because man, paying for school in the U.S. is just so expensive, unless you're going to be doing like a specified like material sciences in certain places, or IT or some kind of business thing, or some specialized area where that professor is a world-class person. Then maybe it's worth it. But you really got to weigh the benefits of that, because yeah, it's expensive to go to school in the U.S. I'm not going to lie to you. Okay. let's say, did you learn German maybe from a course or from being around Germans? So I had, let's see, I had 3 years of German before I moved to Germany in college. And when I got there, I'm like, I understand nothing. Okay, so what you learn in school is only the beginning. Like, you'll be able to read the signs of the menus, but being able to like understand that helps you on your way, and then you learn so much more just by talking to people. Like now I'm trying to keep my Spanish up, so when I get in my car, I have the Spanish language channel on just so I can hear it to keep my ear working with it. So if you're going to be going to Germany, I recommend like watch movies that you know already in German, or maybe with subtitled in German or subtitled in English with a German over top, so you kind of your mind starts to link things up, and that really can help you learn that language when you go, okay? Do you think you can learn German in a year living in Vienna? Yes, you can. Vienna is a really cool city. I'm actually teaching there next year for a bit, so I'm pumped for that. Excuse me, at the Wirtschaftsuniversität, so we should have some fun there. But yeah, because Austrians, if you want to speak German, they will speak German with you. Okay, they're willing to work with you, which is really cool. I find them to be, they point out your German mistakes a little bit less than the Germans do, so that can be nice. Mark, is, for example, a bachelor from China useful in Europe? I would say if you're going to be taking a degree, if you're going to be moving somewhere with your degree, it depends on the university, how it's ranked, how people see it, if people know about it. That's going to be one of the big things. But also the degree you got it in. Because the thing is, I hate to tell people this, but after a couple of years, your college degree doesn't really matter so much anymore. It's what you've done with it that really opens the door. So you do have that. Let's see. For someone who likes to travel a lot and is good with people, would you recommend a hospitality degree? Yeah. If that's what you enjoy doing, if you like hanging out with people, why not? There's a lot of nice programs out there. If you're in the U.S., Las Vegas has a really good hospitality degree. If you're like in Valencia, I think Valencia has it. In Spain, there's some really good tourism and hospitality degrees out there. Because, everybody can do anything you want. If that's what you like doing, go for it. So I'm always cool with that. Yeah. So Sally says, my older sister has lived in Germany for close to a decade in the past, and German is a definite must. Yes, it will make a difference. Schadenherz. Kein Problem. Ich freue mich, dass ich ihr helfen kann. Is my daughter still going to be able to go to uni in the U after Brexit? We are UK based. That I don't know until the Brexit is finalized and stuff like that. I don't know how things will work. I would imagine they will find some compromise eventually, because the hard Brexit will be a very tough for both sides of the Brexit debate, and like Britain and the EU. So there's a lot of stuff to come up there. So they should be worried how those things are going to work. There's been talk that maybe they'll let some of the things keep saying we'll just have our agreements, but again, they have not decided anything yet. So Mikey, I'm sorry, I can't give you more information on that. Let's see. Phil, when is your non-study abroad live chat? This stream has definitely gave me some questions for my non-study abroad upcoming trip. So Phil, I might do one tonight. It depends if Jocelyn has a schedule for anything. Otherwise, I'll probably do one Saturday. Okay, so there'll be one Saturday, probably in the afternoon, evening, U.S. time. But if you look on like youtube.com/Wolters with the live feed thing, like this thing that you're watching now, it'll announce when the next one is, because I got to talk to her when we're going to set it up. So we have that. Because I'm going to put out a normal video tomorrow morning, and so that maybe tomorrow night we can have another discussion about stuff. So no problem, Mikey. Is it true that employers have a hard for study abroad degrees, and how much does it really matter? Info Warrior is basically like, is it really paying out? Do they really care? Well, the thing is when you study abroad, it gives something extra on your resume. It gives you something extra on your experience. I know for me, I see study abroad, I'm like, oh, you had a good time for a semester in Spain. I know how it works. So that's why I actually did my degrees abroad, to show them that it wasn't just a party time, it was actually a degree. But there is things you do have to think about. But some companies really do value that. In some places you have to have it. Because like, look, if I'm an international company, I want to show the international service. I want people that have lived abroad. Because you know what? Getting cable sucks everywhere in the world, okay? And having gone through getting cable in Portugal and Lithuania, oh my God, just don't even get me started on that. Germany, the US, I'm like, actually here, we didn't even get cable. Like, I had so many bad experiences with cable companies when I moved back to the US, I'm like, nope, no more cable, we're done. So there is that. Contrail, thank you very much for the $5, man. That means a lot to me. I really appreciate it. And we'll use it to help make more content to help other travelers and study abroad people and stuff like that. Schottenhats, I have not been to Madagascar, but I want to go. But unfortunately, my youngest, just to watch the things like 72 things that can kill you in Africa, and Madagascar had like 10 of them. He's like, we're not going there. So I have to like wait till he's like unafraid. So we'll get down there eventually. So we'll have that. Would my degree in comp lit with an emphasis in German translations well to the German job market, or otherwise look good when applying for positions in Germany or in Germany after my undergrad? It depends where your passport's from. If it's a U.S. one, you might look at translation jobs and stuff like that. That could be helpful, but it's not a guarantee. Like, that's the thing, is getting jobs abroad straight away are really tough. Like, that's why a lot of people go the kind of easy way. I'm going to go teach English. I'm going to go teach Spanish. I'm going to go teach Italian abroad, because that's one of those things. You already are a native speaker, and if you have like a English as a second language or teaching English as a second language certificate, that opens up a lot of doors, so they can find ways to get you around the visa process. So that might be something you want to look into, because with CompLit and the German stuff, just get the TESOL form, the Teach English as a Second Language. You get them online and take classes on that. Just might make it a little bit easier for you to like jump through some of the hurdles. Okay, so there are those things. Mark, can you explain the difference between a PhD and a German doctorate? Greetings from Germany. They're basically the same thing. Like, after your master's, it's the degree after your master's. You're pretty much, you're just doing more stuff and publishing more things. So pretty much the same thing. Like, when I'm in Germany, they call me Herr Dr. Professor. So, we're pretty much, we're all cool. Okay. Anyway, no problem, Adrian. Glad I can help with some answers. I don't know if I got any of your questions answered, but I hope it helps. Where would you want to go on holiday if I was rich? I would go to Egypt. I would just go to Egypt, and I would go see the pyramids. I go to Luxor, because that's the one place I really, really want to go, and that's where I would go. So there is that, okay? Okay, so here's one. General Game asks, how does the application process work? So getting a degree abroad, you have to go through the same process as anyone else applying there. Study abroad programs are a bit different, because they might have restrictions on it. So for example, where I teach, unless you have a 3.0 or higher GPA out of 4, so basically like a B average or above, they might not even let you apply. So there is that. So one thing you want to look at is, the grades are required. They also might have you fill out some extra forms. They might have you, why do you want to study abroad? The essays. It's kind of like a mini version of applying for college. Sometimes they'll have those things. And that's kind of consistent across a lot of different programs, whether it's high school or college, okay? How do I finance to study abroad? Ask your mom and dad, or get a summer job. I know. For Austria, my parents helped me with that one. For Argentina, I won a scholarship. I won $5,000 scholarship to go to Argentina from Mitsui Corporation, so that was really cool. My master's, I worked and I saved up money, and that's where I paid that stuff for. The PhD, I was teaching while I was doing my PhD, so that's how I paid my bills and stuff like that. That's how we lived there. We lived off my teaching assistant salary, so we had those things. Anyway, I've got to get to work. We're having a big meeting at work, so I got to take off. I hope this helps some of you know a bit more about studying abroad and answer some of your questions. If you do have other questions about study abroad, put them in the comments below. Hopefully I'll get back to those in a future video, or I'll try to answer you back in your questions. And I look forward to talking to more of you later on. I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for all your support. All those that did the super chat, thank you. If you do study abroad, you will have a fantastic time. It is a great experience, but there are the ups and downs. And I will say the toughest month of study abroad is the third month. Because the first month, everything is new and cool. Second month, you're getting used to everything. The third month, you miss your mom, you miss your bed, you miss your favorite shows, stuff like that. That's the toughest month. And so if you're going to go visit your kids to study abroad, don't go in those first 3 months, because they're going to be hurting. Wait until you get past the down point and then do it then, okay? So I hope you have a great time traveling. All the best to you. And let's wait. Scott writes, how much can I expect to pay daily for the costs in mainland Europe? From the U.S., it's going to be about the same price. So have a great time. I got to go back to my actual job, otherwise they might get upset. This is actually my office at my normal job, so I even got a nice little thing to see. I put my family up everywhere I go, so we have that. So I'll say bye from my office, and have a great time, and good luck studying abroad. Have fun studying abroad. Have a safe time. Enjoy it. It's a great experience. If you're worried about your kids going, there's a lot of things your kids will learn and they'll grow. It'll be great. If you're a student, you're going to have a great time when you're there. Maybe show up to class occasionally, though. We professors like to meet our students. So even if they're from Italy or Spain or the U.S., do say hi to your professors, because we're lonely. We have no friends. We're academics, okay? So I'll talk to you later. Bye. And thank you for doing this. And for, like I said, those of you that want the normal chit-chat about traveling, we're going to have one of those later this week, okay? So don't worry about that. I promised to do this in our last live session. I didn't do it, and I felt really bad, so I wanted to make sure I got it there for you. So we'll see you later, and have fun. Bye.